What is up, guys? It's your boy swillz here, and today I have my first edition of the 2020 NFL draft, a mock draft, I should say. I might release another one, I don't know. I felt like this was a good time. For agency's over, combine's over, draft is coming soon. Might as well. Things are falling into place. This is a good time to make one. Now, none of these are going to be exact. I understand that. That's not the purpose of this. It's more or less a prediction. There are trades. So I have done some trades in this mock draft that make sense. Any comments, if you guys want to comment, saying why you disagree with a selection I made. The sun's getting in my face here. Just let me know. Let me know what you think about my selections. Without further ado, let's get right into this. I have them all on this paper right here. So for the #1 overall pick, Cincinnati, I have them taking Joe Burrow. I'm not here to give a long explanation. I don't have that much storage on my phone to do so. I'm sure you've heard it enough. Heisman Trophy winner, easily the best quarterback, I would say. No question, really. Joe Burrow goes #1. #2, Washington is an interesting pick because we don't know how Ron Rivera is thinking. Does he want a new quarterback, as in like Tua Tagovailoa, because Dwayne Haskins isn't his guy? I don't think that's a need at this point. I think Chase Young is very hard to pass up on. He could be a generational talent. If Joey and Nick Bosa were dominant in college, and look at what they're doing now, and Chase Young did even more, I think, it's hard to, you can't pass up on that. For that reason, I have him taking Chase Young at #2. Now, at #3, people might say, for Detroit, Jeff Okudah, maybe they trade down. I have them taking Isaiah Simmons. He's a versatile player, can play all over the field, play whatever position you need him to, linebacker, safety, maybe even play a little bit in the corner. Jeff Okudah only plays one side of the field as a corner, whereas he plays on the sides, whereas Simmons is up the middle, can play everywhere. He's more versatile. He could be a star player, and you need one of those in the middle of the field to protect your defense as a captain. I think that's a no-brainer for me, honestly. I get that they lost Darius Slay, but if you can get up the trenches, if you can get pressure off the edge, if you can get pressure up the middle, your corners don't have to do that much work. So for that reason, I think Simmons is going to be a generational talent. I think it's an easy pick. For the New York Giants, I would have had them taking Simmons at #4, but because he's gone, I think they go Mekhi Becton. For many of the offensive linemen, I think it's very, wishy-washy. I mean, it's rotational. I think anyone could take any player. I don't think there's one offensive lineman, because you have a bunch of Becton, Wills, Thomas, Wirfs. I just think there's a bunch of players that could be rotated around. People will have different guys going to different spots. I have Mekhi Becton going at #4. Now for #5, I have Miami taking Tua. I don't think they need to trade up. I think Tua's a good consolation prize for them. I mean, it's not like they're going to get Joe Burrow anyways. I have them taking him. I don't see anyone trading up above them to take Tua. So for that reason, I have Miami going with Tua. For #6, a little controversial, I have a trade. I have the LA Chargers trading down. Now, why? Because they will probably draft Justin Herbert, but when you look at the teams after them, which of them will draft Justin Herbert? Carolina won't. They just signed Teddy Bridgewater. Arizona won't. They have Kyler Murray. Jacksonville maybe, but they did say they're sticking with Gardner Minshew, so for that reason, I don't think they would. Cleveland won't. The Jets won't. The Raiders, won't, or probably won't. And for that reason, I have them trading with San Francisco. San Francisco has 2 first-round picks to kind of use here. They're a win-now team. They don't really need the picks that bad. So for that reason, I think San Francisco trades all the way up. And because they lost Buckner to Indianapolis, I think they get Derek Brown with that #6 overall pick. As a result, I have them giving up their 13th pick that they acquired from Indianapolis, as well as the 31st overall pick, 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round pick, whatever. I don't really look at them like they'll probably be using in the trade, but it's not obviously something I'm looking at. This is a 1st round projection, so this is only looking at trades within this, if you know what I'm saying. And for that reason, Carolina at #7, I have them taking Jeff Okudah, best player available. Fantastic corner, easily #1 in the draft class. I think that's a no-brainer for me. Matt Rule needs to build that defense. They've lost a lot of players, so I think that's a bit of a no-brainer. So then we go down to #8. It's Arizona. I have them taking Jedrick Wills. I don't really think a wide receiver is a desperate need for them, especially with DeAndre Hopkins. And they drafted a ton last year. I think offensive linemen's just the obvious pick here, and I think right tackle Jedrick Wills could come in and do a good job. Marcus Gilbert's getting old. He was injured. I think that's a good pick for them. At number 9, Jacksonville, I have them taking Javon Kinlaw from South Carolina, the defensive tackle. You know, I'm a Falcons fan. I want Javon Kinlaw, but I don't think he's going to fall that far, although I think Jacksonville's the only team that could really take him above Atlanta in that range. But I don't see Atlanta trading up for that reason. Jacksonville lost Calais Campbell. They're going to lose, well, you know, a little bit of spoiler here. Yannick Ngakoue is getting traded. For that reason, I think Javon Kinlaw is the obvious pick here. He's the best player available, in my opinion, in terms of what they need immediately. Perhaps offensive line, but, you know, there's plenty of opportunities for that further in the draft that you'll see. Then I have number 10, Cleveland, Andrew Thomas. Another offensive line. They need help. They did get Jack Conklin as the left guard, I think. Left guard. Andrew Thomas comes in. I think that solidifies the O-line, at least for the most part, and that gives Cleveland a big opportunity to get some wins next year. And then at number 11, I have another trade, the New York Jets. Now, I did have them taking Tristan Wirfs in this position, but I think Tampa trades up because they need him more. Tampa's going to automatically enter themselves into a win-now mode with Tom Brady. For that reason, they need to address the O-line. They're getting Tristan Wirfs. Jets can draft wide receiver. It's not a big loss for them. And they acquire extra picks. No extra picks within the first round, obviously, but you know what I'm assuming. For that reason, with number 11, Tampa Bay is going to trade up and acquire Tristan Wirfs in exchange for pick number 14. Goes to the Jets. So Tampa Bay gets Tristan Wirfs at number 12. The Raiders, I have them taking CeeDee Lamb, best wide receiver, in my opinion, in the draft. Maybe Jerry Jeudy, but I do have the Raiders taking CeeDee Lamb here with the number 12 pick. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. I say no-brainer a lot, but I mean, they shouldn't take anyone else. CeeDee Lamb's a great player, great wide receiver, and they clearly need it. That offense would get really good. I think Derek Carr's a great quarterback. Offensive line's not terrible. You have Josh Jacobs, and now you have Darren Waller, who's sprouted into this great talent. They've got talent all over the field on defense as well. For that reason, I think CeeDee Lamb comes in. And now we go to pick number 13, which is to Chargers. The trade from San Francisco to the Chargers. Now they take Justin Herbert. Easy win for them. They get multiple picks, and they get the quarterback they wanted anyways. So Justin Herbert goes at number 13 to the Chargers. Perhaps he doesn't start right away. Maybe Tyrod Taylor starts year 1. We'll see. Number 14 goes to the Jets after the trade from Tampa. Jets get Jerry Jeudy. Once again, a big win for the Jets. Traded down, got a player they would have probably went after anyways. So for me, that's a win. Jets get Jeudy at 14. They need wide receiver. I think they need offensive line more than wide receiver, but I think a trade down does not hurt them too much. And they get probably their second biggest need, which is a wide receiver. Now Denver at number 15, I have them taking Henry Ruggs. Drew Lock coming in his second year. The offense was terrible. Defense, I think the defense is great. The defense is still, even though if they lost Chris Harris, you know, they did get Jarrell Casey. Defensive line looks great. Linebackers look decent. Corner's not fantastic, but I don't think it's a huge need in the first round. I think wide receiver is more important. I think they go with Henry Ruggs here. At number 16, the Falcons. I think the only player that really makes sense here is K'Lavon Chaisson. I'm not super big on him, to be honest with you. He's only had 1 year of decent production, but given their needs, you know, Kinlaw's gone. You know, other defensive tackles, it's way too early to take. Maybe they take an outside linebacker here, like a Kenneth Murray. But I think Chaisson, they need help in the trenches, need help in the edge. Chaisson is, for me, the consensus pick. Number 17, I have Dallas taking Kenneth Murray. I think they could slide him to the outside, possibly in place of Sean Lee. Maybe he plays back up for a year and comes in the second year. I just don't see that they have too many glaring needs. Cornerback is a need, but it's not a glaring need, and I don't think any of those players are up to the talent level, in my opinion, that Kenneth Murray is. So I think that they take him at the outside linebacker position. He can play in the middle too, but I think that's a good pick for them. I think he's a good playmaker. And now we have Miami at number 18 after the trade from Pittsburgh, the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, if you remember earlier this year. And I have them taking Josh Jones out of Houston, left tackle. They're going to need help in the offensive line, regardless if they draft a quarterback or not. And this is definitely a position that they're going to need. They lost Laramie Tunsil, if you remember. They traded him to the Texans. Why? I don't really know. But they're going to get the replacement here with Josh Jones. He's a big guy, lengthy guy. Could come in and make an instant start for them. Should be an instant starter for them. I think that's a good pick for them. You know, they don't need a running back this high in the draft, considering the other teams don't really need one either that are below them. Where are we now? We are pick number 19. Back to the Raiders. I think this is still part of the Khalil Mack trade. I'm not positive, but Chicago traded the pick to the the Raiders. I have them taking C.J. Henderson. He's the best quarterback available, in my opinion, probably the best player available at this point, besides wide receivers. They already took CeeDee Lamb. Outside of that, best player available for me is C.J. Henderson. They need corner help. I think that defense is solid. If they add him, it's even better. I think that's a good pick for them. C.J. Henderson out of Florida, the junior. He's a good player. Now we have the 20th pick that goes from the LA Rams to the Jaguars. This is, I believe, the Jalen Ramsey trade. For them, I have them taking Christian Fulton. They need a corner. Of course, they traded away Jalen Ramsey. A.J. Bouye is no longer with the team. I think it's an obvious pick that they need some defensive help. They're not clearly quarterback wouldn't be a big need for them at this point because there's not really any that are really glaring. Maybe Jordan Love, but I just don't see them taking a quarterback early on. I think they trust Gardner Minshew at least at this point in time, and their management is crazy anyways. So you never know what they're gonna do. But I have them taking Christian Fulton out of LSU to pair up with the next pick that they're going to get from Philly. I have Philadelphia acquiring Yannick Ngakoue for this first-round pick, number 21. And I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Justin Jefferson, wide receiver out of LSU. I think, you know, Ngakoue is one of the players, obviously, that has to get traded before the draft, in my opinion. I think Philly, you know, everyone's saying Philly's going to be the place. I think it makes sense. I'm not sure there's many teams. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of other teams that will give it the pick, but I think Philly, they're not too high of a pick to where they can get a better player. I think Yannick Ngakoue is worth that first-round pick. For that reason, I have them acquiring Yannick Ngakoue for that first-round pick. Maybe there's other picks involved. I don't care. This first-round pick is involved. It goes to Jacksonville, and they take Justin Jefferson to go with his LSU teammate, who also goes to Jaguars in the previous pick, Christian Fulton, the cornerback. Okay, now we are pick 21. This was originally Buffalo's pick, but they acquired Stephon Diggs from Minnesota for that 21st pick, who's a wide receiver. So the Bills no longer really need a wide receiver right now. They've got John Brown, Cole Beasley, you know the deal. This pick goes to Minnesota, who now do need a wide receiver, and I have them taking Denzel Mims, wide receiver out of Baylor. Had a fantastic combine. He's got good speed, good size. He's a great wide. I honestly think he's one of the best wide receivers in the draft. I think he's incredibly underrated. I think he's probably the second best receiver in the draft behind Jerry Jeudy, in my opinion. And for that reason, Minnesota needs a wide receiver. The only really great one they have is Adam Thielen. And it's funny because just a couple years ago we were talking about them having the best receiving core in the league. Now they are among the worst. But Denzel Mims comes in and helps them do that. Now we have pick number 22, 23? What is that, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We have New England Patriots. Interesting. They lost Tom Brady to the Bucs. Do they go quarterback here? I think they do go quarterback here. I have them taking Jordan Love. They don't really have... I think this is an odd team. You know, Bill Belichick, the team had 12 wins. What are they? 12 wins, 13 wins last year, whatever it was. You know, the team clearly doesn't have too big of holes. They did lose a lot of players on defense, but Bill Belichick's defense is always among the best, you know? Or it's at least above average. So I think if he believes in his coaching style, if he believes in his players that he has, I don't see why they don't look to the future and get Jordan Love here. Now pick number 24, New Orleans. I'm a Falcons fan. It hurts for me for them to make the selection. I think they take Patrick Queen from LSU, the middle linebacker. I really don't want them to. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to become a fantastic elite-level player in the NFL. But unfortunately, I think New Orleans needs a middle linebacker to pair with, you know, maybe Demario Davis on the outside. So for that reason, Patrick Queen just seems like the best player available. Maybe they go wide receiver here, but it's such a deep draft that they can always get someone like a T. Higgins or a Donovan Peoples-Jones or whatever in later rounds. I don't want to spoil the rest of the players that are taken in the first round, but I think wide receiver they can address them later on. For now, Patrick Queen is a player they pick. Now we have the next pick number 25. We're going to speed it up here. I don't know how much longer I have left. Minnesota, I think they go Ross Blacklock, defensive tackle, TCU. They lost Everson Griffin. There's a fly in my room. They lost Everson Griffin. They lost Linval Joseph. For that reason, I think it's obvious. They need to get something on the trenches and the defensive line. That team is just falling apart this offseason. For that reason, Ross Blacklock comes in. A bit higher, a bit of a reach, but I think it's a necessary pick for them. Now we move on to pick number 26. This is where Miami, in my opinion, takes DeAndre Swift. I think Jonathan Taylor is better, but DeAndre Swift, I think, is going to be the pick for them at number 26. Just fill the holes. Best player available. Number 27 for Seattle, I have them taking Zach Bond out of Wisconsin. I think, this is me assuming Clowney re-signs with them because I think he will. I don't think edge rusher is going to be a huge need like a Gross Matos, Yetur Gross Matos, or an AJ Epineza. Instead, I think they need an outside linebacker, maybe a guy who can apply a little bit of pressure, and a guy can do some coverage. Bobby Wagner is great in the middle, but outside of that, they don't really have much help in the outside linebacker positions. For that reason, I have them taking Zach Bond. Now we move on to pick number 28 for Baltimore. I have them taking AJ Epineza, mainly because they lost or they struck out on the deal for Michael Brockers, and then of course Michael Pierce left. That left a huge hole in the team. Epineza can always slide into the middle. He's a big guy, can play at defensive tackle. For that reason, I think Baltimore takes AJ Epineza with the 28th pick. Now 29 for Tennessee. They've got a really good team, but there's not many positions where they're great. For that reason, I think they want to go cornerback here and get Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Diggs' brother, at cornerback from the University of Alabama. Logan Ryan, not sure if he's going to re-sign with them. Either way, he's not the player. I wouldn't say he's the player he was at New England. He's not elite, but I think they could use some depth there. For that reason, I have them taking Trayvon Diggs. Number 30 for Green Bay, I have them taking Brandon Ayuk. My opinion, another underrated wide receiver from Arizona State. Devontae Adams is really all they have, so I think they need someone to pair up with him just to give Aaron Rodgers some help. There's not too many needs for that team. They had 13 wins last year. For that reason, perhaps it's just best need available, if that makes sense. And I think Brandon Ayuk could be that player. You can switch around wide receivers or whatever. Pick number 31. This is also the Chargers pick from the San Francisco trade. I have them taking Austin Jackson, the tackle from USC. He stays local. And it's a big need for the Chargers. They traded away Russell Okung, who didn't really play last year anyways. They got Trey Turner on the offensive line. And I think that really completes a good offense for them. It's just the quarterback position that needs a little bit of help. I think Austin Jackson comes in, perhaps a little bit of a reach. Who knows? But I think it's a need for them, and I think they're going to fill it with Austin Jackson. And with the last pick in the first round, I have Kansas City taking safety Antoine Winfield Jr., the second. I think he's out of Maryland. Maybe not. Maybe I'm totally wrong. But I think he's a huge playmaker. I do. I don't know how I don't know his college. I'm blanking on it. But I think he's another underrated player. I think Mel Kiper was highlighting it too. Hey, he had him going to like Jacksonville or something like that with like the 20th pick. I think he's a great player. I don't know if he goes that high, but he's got a very high ceiling. He's a high ceiling player, can make plays all over the field. And for that reason, I think they take him. Juan Thornhill was really good until he was gone, but Kansas City could use another safety to pair alongside Thornhill. Maybe a cornerback, maybe a Noah Igbenahine, whatever that. I don't know how to say his last name. But I think Antoine Winfield is a good pick here. Some other players that didn't get drafted, maybe get drafted. Maybe Grant Delpit, maybe Gross Matos. But for me, I think that's the pick. And that's the end of my first mock draft. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe. If you enjoy this, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it, if you agree or disagree with any of my decisions. And that'll do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed once again. Peace out, guys.